Okay, so remember when the Oscars rolled out new diversity requirement rules for any and all movies that wanted to be considered for any Academy Award this year? Well, turns out there's now a loophole around that rule. Now, as long as you opt out and don't want to be considered for Best Picture, you actually don't have to report things like gender, race, or disability status of the people involved in making your film. And some people have an issue with this because the whole point of the diversity requirements was to make the Oscars as a whole more diverse, not just the race for Best Picture. Those diversity requirements, by the way, are pretty broad, and to satisfy them, films have to meet just 2 out of 4 standards, which can include, yes, a lead actor or actress that's from an underrepresented group, aka just anyone that's not a white man, or having a paid internship specifically for underrepresented groups, or having just 6 crew members from an underrepresented group. So if the diversity rules only apply to one category, it begs the question of whether the Oscars actually cares about diversifying its candidate pool, or whether its diversity requirements are just another box to check.
Okay, I know what I'm about to say is going to make a whole lot of people feel incredibly uncomfortable, and I'm used to that. But y'all, Black America, it does not have a white supremacy problem. I know this is shocking and news to you, but it just doesn't. But what I can tell you it has, Black America has a standard problem, right? It's about standards. And the reason why I say that is because if white supremacy was really running and ruining everything, my question to you is, why are you the one chasing their approval? Yes, why are you the one begging to sit at their table? Why are you the one celebrating their validation more than your own? Yeah, you need to pause and let that marinate down in your spirit right there, because at some point, we've got to stop blaming the system and we got to start questioning the standard. What am I talking about? I'm talking about this. Take a look at this clip.
Phew! A lot of people are saying that Michael B. Jordan didn't actually deserve to win the Oscar for Sinners because Sinners really wasn't that good. And I can't say that I 1,000% disagree with them. Now, granted, do I think Michael B. Jordan deserves an Oscar? Yes. Do I think that Sinners was the movie in which he should have received his Oscar for? Not necessarily, because Sinners, in my opinion, really wasn't that good, but it was a great film for what it was. While Michael B. Jordan joins the list of the 5 other great, amazing black men who have won Oscars for their lead roles in movies, a lot of people are saying that the only real reason that he won this was from sympathy, because of that white man going out and actually yelling the N-word at the last award show that pretty much made the nomination committee go ahead and start throwing awards at Sinners because of the simple fact that they were disrespected previously. And a lot of people feel like, damn, Sinners was a decent movie. It was a good movie. But was it to the point that it was Oscar worthy? Yes, he played 2 distinctive roles where he did 2 different impersonations and stuff like that. Yes, cool. But we had people like Big Mama House and all of that where people did different roles. So, once again, it's just like, yo, did they really hire that man, or was this really deserved? I think it was deserved for him to receive an Oscar. I just wish that all of this negativity around why he's receiving the Oscar wasn't existing, because now it does put a little stain on his Oscar win. However, shout out to Michael B., of course, no matter what, for winning an Oscar, because like I said before, you are joining an elite list of black men that has won this elite award. Regardless of what the naysayers got to say, this man been acting since The Sopranos. So congratulations to Michael B. Jordan. You deserve this award. You deserve everything that's coming your way. But it was still a good movie to pretty much continue to put you on the map. Hopefully the behind the scenes stuff is not real and it's not true, and y'all didn't hire somebody to come yell out the N-word in order to gain sympathy. And hopefully that you did win this award just off of the strength that the movie was good. But at the end of the day, congratulations to Michael B. Jordan. You are now an official black lead actor Oscar winner. Congratulations, my boy. You did it. Yes, sir.
So let's just go ahead and start here. I was on the phone, not literally talking. We were texting a friend of mine the other day, known him for years. And we were talking about the movie Sinners. Now, I watched that movie. And I mean, it was interesting. I'll say that. There were so many aspects of the movie that I did like. But then toward like the middle, toward the end, it got like really weird. And for me, it just went left and I hated the ending. And so me and my friend, we were talking and he was talking about how, why is it that Black folks believe that nobody wants them to win anything and nobody wants them to achieve success? Now, my friend, to be fair, he liked the movie. He was like, the movie was great to him. But what he was saying was that, why is it, like when it comes to the Oscars, why is it that we're unable to say, well, maybe let's try and look at some other movies to say, could this movie get an Oscar as well? Instead of crying about how nobody wants to see Black people win, he was saying maybe there were other movies that were good. And if we compared the movie that we claim should win to some other videos or some other movies of notoriety, we might find that there's a reason why the video that we think should win didn't win. But anywho, let me read to you what a friend of mine said in his text message. I thought it was so profound and powerful. He goes, quote, admitting the space wasn't created with us in mind while simultaneously wanting to be accepted in it while complaining about that same space being racist, that has to be a tiring circle to run in. And I said, sir, I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't have agreed with him more. And I told him, I said, to me, the movie wasn't terrible. It was all right. It had aspects of it that I was like, no, this should not be. I don't like this. It was a personal preference for me. But notice how Blacks are always the ones that want the approval of white institutions in order to feel like they've accomplished something. If they really thought that the movie was that good, my question is, why do you even care what the American Academy people think about it? Like, who set the standard is what I want to know. And more importantly, why are you measuring yourself against it? Because I need somebody to explain this to me. I need someone to explain to me, why is the ultimate goal to be seen as equal to white people? Why is that the finish line for some of you? Because if you really think about it, such a comparison has to be rooted in insecurity and inferiority. So we're going to talk about the Oscars because this right here, in my opinion, in terms of how people are responding to this, exposes everything. Black Hollywood didn't say, you know what? We need better scripts. We need better storytelling. We need to have some better screenwriters and directors and studio owners so we can have some ownership. No, do you know what they said? They said, we aren't getting more awards. I thought it was strange that they didn't fight for excellence, nor have they set a new standard, but instead, these people are out here fighting for recognition. And now the Academy people are like, okay, we're going to change the rules. We'll change the rules to include you. Not because the work improved, though, but just to satisfy your emotions. And what we're noticing is that they still ain't satisfied. They are still not satisfied. Now, in my world, the world I navigate in, nothing about demanding to be recognized screams high level achievement. In fact, it's given participation trophy energy at a whole global level, and it should embarrass you, but you're not embarrassed. And that's the part that's confusing to me. It's got you out here doing a whole jig and you are celebrating it when you should be ashamed and embarrassed, but you're not. But here's a thought. Why are some Black Americans just addicted to the external validation? Now I just got to go ahead and say it and tell the truth, okay? Some people, they don't actually want to win because they're the best. No, they just want to be seen winning by white people. That's the addiction. It's like a dopamine hit. I call it, it's like a cultural Novocaine that just kind of makes you feel better about yourself, but it's not rooted in excellence. It's more about the affirmation and the applause from the people that you claim hate you and they oppress you. Those are y'all's words, not mine. Somebody make this make sense to me. I'm just replaying the tape so you can hear yourself because this is how you sound. To me, this is the projection trap. This is the part that nobody wants to say out loud. And it's the fact that the people who scream white supremacy the loudest, because they are really loud, are often the same ones who they center white people in every conversation. They measure success against that of what the white institutions are doing, and they are seeking validation from the white platforms. So let me ask you a real question. If white supremacy, now I don't believe white supremacy is real. I don't. I don't believe white supremacy is real. However, why does the thought of not being accepted or approved by them, why does it make you angry? I'll tell you why. It makes you angry because deep down inside, you don't want to admit this, but you've built your identity around them and whatever it is that they think. You traded respect for some contrived and manufactured representation. You've traded earning it, getting it out the mud, and meritocracy. You've traded that for just being included. And now the same institution that you accused of being racist, they're patting you on the head like a little pet. And they're saying to you, here you go. Is this enough for you? And what you do, you sit and you clap. You're clapping. This is about approval. Because it can't be about excellence. Because if it was about excellence, you wouldn't accept a system that had to be adjusted just to include you. That's how come I know this is about approval. It's like having a teacher curving your grade and then you celebrating like you passed the test. No, you didn't pass the test. They passed you, but you didn't pass. You see the difference? It's just like a man who keeps going to a prostitute and he's paying her for attention, if you know what I mean. And then he keeps trying to convince himself that, she really likes me. Now he knows she don't really like him. He knows that she's doing it for the money and it ain't because she really wants to be there, but he's trying to convince himself that it's real. He knows it's not genuine. He knows it's completely transactional, but he don't even care. As long as he gets the experience, that is fine by him. He just wants the experience. So that's what this is. The whole situation in the brouhaha with the Oscars, it's cultural dopamine. A whole illusion of success without the substance. So here's the deal. I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret, right? I know nobody's ever told you this before, but I'm going to tell you because I love you, okay? Your old auntie's here to tell you. They will never admit this, the black liberal. They'll never admit it, but they are absolutely threatened by black conservatives. And do you want to know why? I know you probably haven't given this much thought, but I have. They're threatened by the black conservative because we don't play that game. Okay, we're not going to be begging to be included. You're not going to see us doing that. We're not demanding validation. Remember, we kind of are just asserting ourselves. We just are, right? We're not measuring ourselves against somebody else's table or somebody else's standard. Why? Because we set our own standard. And what happens is we force everyone else to rise to it. Like, for example, if we're not invited, you're not going to see us on the internet whining and crying about it. Cool, you don't want us there. Keep it moving. We will keep it moving. We will build something better, and then everyone else will see what we got going on, and they'll want to come over here to see what we're doing. So the question is, who's actually the sellout? Is the sellout the one who says, I don't need your validation, fine, I'll build my own? Or are the sellouts the ones who actually say, please accept me, please include me, please validate me, because without your validation and without your acceptance, we're just going to say that it's racist. You tell me which one is the sellout. Because at the end of the day, I firmly believe this. This might seem like this is some sort of cultural battle, but this is really a spiritual issue. It's a spiritual issue because the Bible doesn't tell you to measure yourself against mankind. We ain't even supposed to be worried about some funky, wretched, filthy sinner. Somebody from the dust of the ground thinks about us. You're not even to be concerned about how man sees you. When we read in Galatians, when the Apostle Paul is appealing to these Jews about the false gospel that they have seemed to have been captivated by, he goes, am I now your enemy because I tell you the truth? And then he goes, for am I now seeking the approval of man or the approval of God? Because if I was seeking the approval of man, I wouldn't be a servant of the Lord Jesus. The point there, Paul is trying to convey that, listen, I can't serve you the truth while chasing your approval. I can't do that. And so the Oscars here, in my opinion, I mean, I'm not saying that Michael B. Jordan didn't deserve to win an award. Look, I saw the movie. He's a great actor. I'm not melting down over we didn't win in enough categories. Like, y'all ain't never satisfied. The broader overarching point I'm trying to make is that the Oscars didn't elevate Black excellence the way you think it did. No. But what it did do is it exposed a whole lot of Black insecurity. I know that wasn't the take that you was expecting, but it is the logical conclusion that one has to draw after watching people crash out because they feel that they didn't win in enough categories and Oscars so white and why won't y'all give us an award? Why can't we do? Listen, when your standard is external, your success is always going to be conditional. However, when your standard is the truth, you don't need anybody to validate you. Like, at the end of the day, you can't complain about white supremacy while treating white validation like it's the gold standard. You got to pick a struggle. You can't do both. You're coming, you're going, you're coming, you're going. At some point, we have got to ask ourselves, why do I need their approval to feel valuable? If your identity was hidden in Christ, you wouldn't be walking around with an inferior mindset, out here embarrassing yourself and begging for acceptance like this. You just wouldn't do it. And so my message is like, listen, real power, it's not being invited to the table. No. Real power is building your own table and then you watching the people around come and hover over what you got going on to see if they can get a little taste of what's at your table. It's not caring about who shows up, but you prepare a nice spread, and for those who do, they'll recognize it. Because when you know who you are, you stop begging people to tell you. So I need y'all to drop a comment. Let me know if you agree with my assessment. You agree, you can disagree. Either one is fine with me. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to this content. Share this video. I'm curious to hear from you. And until next time, you guys, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace. Quit all that begging and whining and stuff. It's a bad look. We got to stop this.